The interesting thing in Buddhism is that what it's saying is, here's the deal. You are formlessness, ultimately. Everything that you are is in a constant and endless state of change. Now, we know this in the big scale of things because we can look at our parents, and then we can look at a picture of them when they were a child, and we see the person I'm looking at now is old and wrinkly, and the person I looked at as a child is very healthy. So we see there's that big scale change happening. But in the little, minute, momentary way, we're constantly moving. We're in a state of going from point A to point B. We get up to use the bathroom, we look around, and so our visual field is in a constant state of flux. Our visual field is constantly changing. So we are in a constant state of change, which means that we have no permanent self. And the idea that there is a permanent self is one of the primary delusions that Buddhism has identified, and also one of the primary causes of most of, if not all of, a human suffering, is their attachment to the delusion that they are a permanent self, and that all resultant activity to try to escape from the ultimate truth, which is that we are nothingness, is a movement that is could be compared to somebody on fire trying to put out the fire. Only in this case, the fire is the realization that we are nothingness, and the movement to put out the fire is everything we do to create an identity or to hold ourselves as a being. And so it's funny because you realize almost everything you've done in your life is essentially a long-running temper tantrum where you have just been doing anything you can to avoid being still, because if you stay still for even the shortest amount of time, very quickly the thing that you think you are starts merging into the everythingness that you actually are, and for whatever reason that's not a very palatable state for an ego to be in. And so that's really cool, man. And I always go back to the gum on the shoe of what is the term?
I was water. I was two things. I was not only nothing, I was the gum on nothing's shoe, or I was water borrowed from the ocean that the ocean forgot.
That was that feeling. It seemed like it was not a comfortable feeling.
No.
Yeah. So.
Right. No. Right. Definitely not. I wanted to be special. I wanted to be something unique. My special self. This thing that kind of came out to have this great purpose, and it was illustratively taking that from me and saying, no, on another perspective, you're nothing. Like, we're all nothing. We're all part of this ocean. And the distinction of this is myself versus the collective is something that we create ourselves.
That's right.
But then, it gives you that place, and I think it's important to get there. But I really like the Toltec belief that once you achieve that, you can go act through your controlled folly, is what they call it. And the controlled folly is understanding that, but still acting in a normal way, still engaging in life,
yes,
as if everything that you previously thought was true, but keeping that deeper truth and then acting however you want. So yeah, if you want to, eat cheeseburgers and go do whatever this earthly thing that you like, makes sense to you, you can do that. And it's just your controlled folly. Like, at some level, it's folly. It's not real. But at another level, you can enjoy the shit out of it freely.
Enjoy the dream.
Enjoy the dream.
All the great teachers tell you this is a dream, and not in the sense of we're just saying that. It's literally, you are in a dream. You are nothingness that has temporarily become somethingness, which will return to nothingness, which will return to somethingness again for infinity and infinity and infinity. And your great attachment to all the minutiae of your life that's causing you all this suffering is called clinging. You're clinging to a thorn bush. You are there. It's like there is a love tornado, a tornado of bliss and joy that at any time can suck you into what is called nirvana, But rather than get sucked into that, you're holding onto like a barbed wire fence that is cutting into your hands, and you have confused the agony and pain and of that with yourself. You think your pain is yourself. You think if you let go of that fence and you're no longer experiencing the constant aching darkness that has followed you through all your days, you will no longer be anything at all, and the result will be hell. When in fact, according to the teachers, all theoretical, from my perspective, though I have had little glimpses of what that might be, little minute glimpses, the ensuing state that happens the moment you really release yourself from the attachment to your identity, and after you surrender to being the gum on the foot of nothingness, is apparently a kind of infinite bliss, which then will allow you to enjoy your life. It's not as though you get that state and suddenly like now you're no longer working on it, or now you no longer have a family, or now you go wandering into the woods. It's just that now when you sit down with your kid or your wife or your friends, you actually are listening to them, and you're actually there for them, and because you really are yourself, and you're not in pain anymore.
You know, it takes away all of those. I remember I had a really powerful experience on the Wachuma where I realized that until you shed all of your fear, until you reach that state of fearlessness, which is why the jaguar is the sacred emblem to them, because in that South America, the jaguar is fearless. It has no known predators. It hides in the canopy of the trees. It's nocturnal. It's faster, stronger, has sharper claws, has no fear. So until you reach that state of fearlessness, you don't have free will. And attachment and ego and everything else that we think is part of it is really just some kind of fear. It's fear of not being important. It's fear of not having substance. So until you reach that point of fearlessness, you don't have free will. You're getting pushed and pulled. So the transformation into the jaguar is the gift of free will. It's the gift of being able to lay back and say, you know, I can decide what I want. And in that moment of free will, which is also a moment of incredibly powerful presence, that's when you can create whatever you really dream.